All right, everyone. It's the moment we've been waiting for. We're going to find out if a tsunami hits where Jack and Annie are. So here we are. Here's our book, Magic Tree House 28. We are on chapter 7. Ride for your lives. Jack had to find out more about tsunamis quickly, so he ran as fast as he could. A tsunami can strike in a few hours or in a few minutes after an earthquake. It depends on the strength of the earthquake and where it took place. After earthquakes, it is safest for islanders to seek higher ground. We have to get to higher ground now, thought Jack, dropping the book. He ran down to the edge of the ocean. Boca, Kema, and Annie were still paddling out beyond the waves. Jack forgot all about their fight. "Hey, you guys," he yelled, but they didn't hear him. Jack went into the shallow water. "Hey, you guys," he yelled, "come back." They still didn't hear him. Jack ran to his surfboard, grabbed it, and ran into the ocean. He fought the breaking waves. Once he was past them, he threw himself on his board and he paddled wildly. The wave swells grew as he paddled. He could hardly see Annie, Boca, and Kema over them. Jack paddled faster and faster, trying to reach them. "Hey," he yelled, "hey!" Boca looked back at him, and he gave Jack a friendly wave. Then he turned away again. "Oh, I've got to get them to come help me," Jack thought frantically. "Help, help," he yelled at the top of his lungs. The 3 kids jerked around. They paddled quickly toward Jack with worried faces. "What's wrong? Are you in trouble?" asked Annie. "We all are in trouble. A tsunami might be coming. There was an earthquake when I was on the beach." "Oh, we better ride in fast," said Boca. "Stay on your belly," said Kema. "It's safer." "Here comes a wave," cried Boca, and they all started paddling. The swell of the wave picked them up, and they were all swept forward. Jack gripped the sides of his board as he zoomed along with the others. Suddenly, he dropped down as the wave curled under. It felt like he was riding a roller coaster, but he stayed on his board just as the wave carried him to shore. Jack rolled off into the shallow water. He snatched up his board and ran onto the sand. Boca and Kema were waiting. "Hey, that was good riding, Jack," said Boca. "Where's Annie?" asked Jack. Boca pointed. Annie was in the shallow water pulling her board in. As they watched, something very weird began to happen to the ocean. The water around Annie began to pull away. Everyone say, "Oh no." That means the tsunami is about to hit. Chapter 8 is called The Big Wave. Whew, I'm nervous. "Run, Annie," Jack screamed. The water drew away from the beach and a loud hissing sound came from the sea. Suddenly, there was fish flopping on the bare sand. Annie threw down her board and she ran. She grabbed Jack's hand as she ran by him. Jack grabbed Boca's hand and Boca grabbed Kema's hand. They all ran together, pulling each other along as they raced to the cliff. Boca and Kema ran up the cliff path, and Jack and Annie grabbed their shoes and Jack's pack. They all scrambled up the path too. At the top of the cliff, everyone looked back. Jack could not believe his eyes. A wave was rising up like a dark mountain of water. It came surging toward the shore, growing even taller. And look at this huge wave. These are the kids standing at the top of the cliff, and look at how big that wave is. Woo! That's a giant wave. "Wow," whispered Annie. "Get back," shouted Boca. The 4 of them bolted back from the edge of the rocky slope. The mountain of the water crashed against the cliff. Water sprayed over the tops of the rocks and rained down on them. When the water rolled back over the cliff, they all hurried back to the edge to see what had happened. The rocky cliff path was gone. The gigantic wave was moving back out to sea, taking rocks and sand and seaweed and seashells and all the surfboards with it. "Whoa, scary," breathed Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. "We just made it." "Boca, Kema," voices called. They turned around. Jack saw Boca and Kema's parents racing across the meadow toward them, and other villagers followed. The 2 Hawaiian kids ran into their parents' arms. Soon, Jack and Annie were surrounded by villagers. Everyone was laughing and crying and hugging each other. Jack hugged Annie. He hugged Kema and Boca and their parents, and lots of other people that he didn't even know. Whew, everyone say, "Phew, I feel better knowing that they're safe." Well, normally I'd stop with just 2 chapters, but since we have spring break and I won't be seeing you on the computer for a week, I thought let's go ahead and finish the book. And then after spring break, we'll start a new one because I don't want you guys to forget what happens. So chapter 9, telling the story. Finally, the hugging and crying and laughing died down. The villagers started walking back to their huts. Jack and Annie followed Boca, Kema, and their parents. "We felt the ground shaking," said Boca and Kema's father. "We knew a big wave might follow." "Jack saved us," said Boca. He read in a book and found out about the big waves. What is a book? Asked his mother. Show them, Annie said to Jack. So Jack reached into his back and took out their research book. It tells about big waves in here. Books can give lots of information. Ah, said Boca and Kama's mother. A book is a good thing. Yeah, books tell stories too, said Annie. That's impossible, said Kama. The book cannot move its feet or wave its hand. The book cannot sing or chant. Well, that's true, said Jack, smiling. Now we should all do the hula, Boca said to Annie, Kama, and Jack, and we should tell our story. I'll watch, said Jack, stepping away. Boca and Kama's father called for music. The villagers gathered around, and a man started to play a pipe. A teenage boy knocked two sticks together, and some women began shaking rattles. Boca, Kama, and Annie waved their hands in time to the music. They stepped from side to side, and they swayed their hips. Kama chanted about going out into the water. She, Boca, and Annie waved their hands to show how they paddled out to seas. Kama chanted about how Jack warned them. She and the others waved their hands to show how they rowed their surfboards to the shore. Then Jack surprised himself. He waved his hands to show how he rode his surfboard like a bird soaring through the air. The next thing he knew, he was stepping from side to side and swaying his hips. He was doing the hula. Here's a picture of Jack doing the hula. Kama chanted about how the water had pulled away from the shore and how they climbed to safety, and how the giant wave crashed against the cliff. As Kama chanted the story, all the villagers joined in the dance. The tall grasses swayed and the palm trees swayed, and all the hula dancers swayed too. When the story ended, everyone clapped. Thanks for helping us, Boca said to Jack and Annie. We're a good team, said Annie. We are best friends, said Kama. Yeah, said Jack. I'm sorry I said mean things to you. Well, we're sorry that we laughed at you, said Boca. I'm sorry I grabbed the book, said Annie. Our mother says friendship is like riding the waves. Sometimes you ride low, gentle waves, and sometimes you ride high, rough ones. Annie gasped. She looked at Jack, and she repeated Morgan's rhyme. To find a special magic, build a special kind of ship that rides the waves both high and low on every kind of trip. Friendship. That's the ship we're looking for. Friendship, said Jack. And we built it. We built a friendship. She and Jack burst out laughing. Boca and Kama looked a little confused, but they laughed too. We have to go back to our own home now, Annie said to Boca and Kama. It's time to say goodbye, said Jack. Oh, we never say goodbye, said Kama. We say aloha when we greet our friends, and we say aloha when we leave them. Friends are always together, said Boca, even when they are far apart. Have a good journey in your magic treehouse, said Kama. Thanks, said Jack and Annie. They waved to all the villagers. Aloha! Aloha, everyone called back. Then Annie and Jack started through the meadow. Tiny yellow birds and orange and black butterflies flitted around them. At the edge of the meadow, they came to the grove of palm trees, and they climbed up the rope ladder into the treehouse. Out the window, Jack saw the tall mountains, the small village, the flowery meadow, and the ocean. The water was peaceful again. I still have my lei, said Annie. She took it off. The red flowers were wet, and they were still a little fluffy. This is proof that we found this special magic, said Jack, the magic of friendship. Annie put the lei on the floor next to the play squirrels, the twig, and the corn seeds. Then she picked up the Pennsylvania book. Are you ready? She asked. Jack sighed. I love Hawaii, he said. Finally, you admit it, said Annie. She pointed to the picture of the Frog Creek woods. I wish we could go home now. Then the wind started to blow, and the treehouse started to spin. Then it spun faster and faster. Then everything was still, absolutely still. And that takes us to the last chapter called Everyday Magic. And you can see Jack and Annie hugging Morgan. So it says, Jack opened his eyes. The sun was setting beyond the woods. No time at all had passed in the Frog Creek. Welcome back, said a soft, lovely voice. Morgan Le Fay was in the magic treehouse. Morgan, cried Annie. She threw her arms around the enchantress. Jack hugged Morgan too. Look, Morgan, said Annie, we have proof that we found 4 special kinds of magic. Oh, yes, I see, said Morgan. Morgan picked up the play scrolls that Shakespeare had given Jack and Annie in Old England. You found the magic of theater, she said. Morgan picked up the twig from the mountain gorilla in the African forest. And you found the magic of animals, she said. Morgan picked up the pouch of corn seeds from their trip to the first Thanksgiving. And you found the magic of community, she said. Finally, Morgan picked up the wreath of flowers from Kama and Boca. And you discovered the magic of friendship, she said. Morgan looked at Jack and Annie for a long moment. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Yes, they both leaned forward. You are now magicians of everyday magic, said Morgan. You have learned to find the magic in things that you encounter on Earth every day. There are many other forms of everyday magic. You never have to look far to find it. You only have to live your life to the fullest. Jack and Annie nodded. Soon you will be called upon to use your knowledge of everyday magic in the realm of fantasy. The realm of fantasy? Said Jack. Does that mean that we're going back to Camelot? Asked Annie. Before Morgan could answer, a shout came from the distance. Jack, Annie. Oh, our dad's calling, said Annie. You must go home now, said Morgan gently. Rest and get ready to test your powers. Your most exciting challenges are yet to come. Goodbye, Morgan, said Annie and Jack, and they hugged the enchantress. Then Jack took the Hawaii book out of his backpack and gave it to Morgan. He put on his backpack and followed Annie down the ladder. When they stepped onto the ground, there was a great roar above them. Jack and Annie looked up. A swirl of sparkling light lit the top of the tree. Then the light was gone, and the treehouse was gone, and Morgan Le Fay was gone too. Jack and Annie didn't speak for a long moment. Then Jack broke the silence. Our most exciting challenges are yet to come? What do you think Morgan meant by that? Well, I don't know, said Annie. Kind of sounds a little scary, said Jack. That's okay. We can handle it, said Annie. We are magicians of everyday magic, you know. Jack smiled. Yeah, I guess we are. Then they walked out of the woods as the sun was setting. Down the street, their mom and dad were standing at their front porch. They waved at Jack and Annie. Jack felt a surge of happiness. There's another kind of everyday magic, he thought. The magic of family. In that moment, it seemed like the best magic of all. And that's the end. Oh, I like that. I think all of us are experiencing the magic of family right now while we have extra time at home with our family. So I hope you enjoy your time and you enjoy the magic of family over spring break. And next week, here's some of my family. I enjoy the magic of being with my family. So next week is spring break. We won't have any new lessons or anything. You just get to spend time with your family, relax, sleep in. So I'll miss seeing all of you. And then after spring break, we'll get back to our online lessons. I love all of you so much, and I hope you have a great spring break. Bye, friends.